All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this. Seemed like Democrat Senator Alex Padilla just pretty much got removed and handcuffed because he tried to lunge at Kristi Noem while she was talking about like the riots and like I said, the raids and stuff that's been going on. And this man literally broke into the DHS ICE press conference. So he wasn't even invited there. And he stormed up in her room while she was talking about, like I said, about everything that's going on. And he gets arrested because the police were telling him to get out, but he kept lunging like he was trying to shove the officers out the way to get to Kristi Noem. So Democrats trying to spin it now by saying, oh, he was just asking a question. It's a difference between asking a question and while you are angry, you asking a question while lunging at Kristi Noem. And that's the reason why, you know what I'm saying, they pretty much pushed him out the room and arrested him. So, of course, you got the Chuck Schumers of the world. You got all these people trying to take up for him, talking about, oh, Donald Trump is doing this. He's trying to arrest all the Democrats. But yet, when the Democrats was in power, they were trying to arrest President Trump. They were trying to throw him in prison. So we definitely going to get into this video by Benny Johnson. He got a little bit more evidence and stuff of what just happened. But, yes, he did get removed and handcuffed. But like I said, let's go ahead and dive straight into it. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to the ones who always stay to the very end and let me know in the comment section that you did watch the entire video. I appreciate all of you that do that because it definitely helps get the video out there. And the ones that always hit that like button as well. I appreciate all of you as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this. So if you can see right here, Kristi Noem, she just, she's doing what she's doing. And you got this guy just, storming up in there out of nowhere. Check this out.
As our law enforcement officers have been assaulted, they've been pelted with rocks and bricks. Their cars have been set on fire. Molotov cocktails have been used. We have seen people throw bottles and hammers at them. We've also seen that they have been attacked and verbally spit on or punched or assaulted, and it's just not acceptable. The Department of Homeland Security and the officers and the agencies and the departments and the military people that are working on this operation will continue to sustain and increase our operations in this city. We are not going away. We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles.
A half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted, and how their families have been put in jeopardy, and that we're not going to allow that anymore as well. That those individuals who are purposely endangering our ICE agents and our law enforcement officers and their families will be prosecuted for what they are doing as far as...
See, and that's the thing. She's showing like the pictures of all these illegal aliens and stuff like that. She's talking about the raids and the protests. And you got Senator Alex Padilla storming at her, interrupting her while she's talking. If he wanted to ask a question, even though he didn't supposed to be there because he broke in the room, he did not supposed to be there. But yet you're in anger and you're storming like you're just lunging at her towards the podium while she's talking. And now Democrats, like I said, trying to spin it. Pretty much trying to say, oh, he was just asking, he got arrested for asking a question. Like, no, we seen exactly what this guy did. So now you're going to see a lot of Democrats coming out trying to take up for him like they always do. According to them, Democrats can do no wrong. Just crazy.
Perpetuating violence on them.
Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go, put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
Call it what it is, a disgraceful abuse of power.
Wow.
Senator Padilla was handcuffed and dragged.
No, it was a disgrace abuse of power when y'all was trying to arrest President Trump. You didn't come out and make videos then when y'all was going after President Trump, keeping him in them cold courtrooms, Letitia James in the back laughing at him. That was an abuse of power. Y'all didn't say that then when y'all was going after President Trump. So now y'all getting arrested because y'all actually committing crimes. Now you want us up there and cry about it. Talking about abuse of power. Oh, shut the hell up. Just shut up. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that.
For daring to ask a question.
There they go.
This wasn't a threat, it's dissent. And they crushed it with force. They're not keeping us safe. They're trying to silence us.
This is just insane. They trying to silence us. Even Bennett said the same thing. Democrat senator arrested by FBI Live because he was charging that Kristi Noem. That's exactly what he was doing. But let's check out Bennett because, like I said, he got a little bit more on this as well.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. I'm starting to get weighed down by wearing all of my medals. The I got exactly what I voted for medals. Because Democrat senators who are trying to attack members of the Trump administration are getting put in handcuffs and dragged away by the FBI. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, meet California Senator Alex Padilla. Alex Padilla says the vast majority of the LA rioters were peaceful and passionate.
That is insane. So, like burning police cars, throwing stuff at police officers, looting jewelry stores, all of that stuff, Democrats are calling that peaceful. Now, check this out what Lib to TikTok said. He said, I guess the rioters were peacefully burning cars, passionately throwing bricks at cops, peacefully blocking highways, and passionately vandalizing property. This is how the Democrats think. Oh my God. So just seeing all them like burn police cars and we seen it in real time and they calling it peaceful and passionate. What?
Of course, he's somebody who would never be in the Senate were it not for California ripping off the American voter by shoving tens of millions of criminal aliens into a red state in order to flip it blue forever. So low IQ morons like Alex Padilla get Senate seats in red states. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be a red state in California as Trump administration officials have effectively taken over Los Angeles. Trump sent in the Marines, the National Guard, and Kristi Noem, who was in Los Angeles today. Kristi Noem was giving a press conference in downtown LA saying that the Trump administration is going to use the IRS to track down who's responsible for these riots, who's behind them. It's going to be an incredible role, and we very much look forward to figuring out who's delivering all the bricks and all the stones, all the sticks, all the gas masks, all of the leaf blowers to these protesters. But in the midst of that press conference, a brouhaha took place. No one was quite sure what was going on. There was a major interruption in the room. Here's the broadcast.
We are staying here to liberate this city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles.
Matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your.
I also want to talk about specifically how many of our ICE agents have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted, and how their families have been put in jeopardy, and that we're not going to allow that anymore as well. That those individuals who are purposely endangering our ICE agents and our law enforcement officers and their families will be prosecuted for what they are doing as far as perpetuating violence on them.
Well, it came to be known that the interruption was not some type of screaming, rabid Marxist activist, smooth-brained, and totally, completely cucked. Oh, wait, that's exactly what it was. It just happens to also be a senator. Alex Padilla is his name. He was forcefully ejected from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's press conference and thrown to the ground and then arrested.
He should have been.
Enjoy this angle of his ejection and arrest.
Exaggerate and embellishing. Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla.
Now, if you see him, they trying to push him out, and he's still trying to lunge at Kristi Noem. You can literally see what he's doing. He's trying to lunge at a woman, trying to storm onto the podium where she at, no matter. And we don't know what was on this man's mind, what he was going to do. He didn't even announce himself or who he was. He just stormed in the room, start lunging at her, start screaming out stuff while storming the stage. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I have questions for
Look
the
at him.
secretary.
Look at him.
Because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
hands off.
how many of our ICE agents have been shot.
On the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you don't my hands, go ahead, stand behind my back.
All right. Cool.
That's insane.
Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
There's no recording allowed out here. I do not know. There's no recording allowed out here per FBI, right? So what, I'm sorry? There's no recording allowed out here. That's my boss. I have to. There's no recording allowed out here. You can record. There's no recording allowed out here. I'm not a member. There's no recording allowed. I understand that, sir, but
Alex Padilla was thrown on the ground and handcuffed after fighting with federal agents. Kristi Noem's press conference. Please charge him, of course. You're not allowed to just stomp in and bull rush Kristi Noem, which is obviously exactly what's happening
Bull
here.
rushing her.
Kristi Noem is in charge of Department of Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security oversees the Secret Service. She has high Secret Service protection. It also oversees multiple law enforcement agencies like Border Patrol and Department of Homeland Security, police,
exactly.
the TSA, and so on. So when you charge at the secretary, that's going to be seen, no matter who you are, as a threat. Obviously, officers put him on the ground after he crashes the press conference, put him in handcuffs. You love to see it. He better be charged, just like LaMonica, because he's clearly fighting with the federal agents.
Yep, just like LaMonica McIver. Like when she was swinging at the ICE officers and stuff like that, now she has been indicted. So like I said, President Trump is making an example out these Democrats that go to show that y'all ain't finna just do whatever y'all want. As soon as one of y'all go down or y'all get arrested, here come Hakeem Jeffries, here come Chuck Schumer trying to bail them out. Oh, why y'all arresting them? Why is they doing this? But these are the same people that keep talking about January 6th. But look what they just did in New Jersey. Look what these Democrats just did in New Jersey.
Pretty remarkable imagery, and the news out of DHS is remarkable as well. Here we go from Homeland Security. Senator Padilla chose disrespectful political theater and interrupted a live press conference without identifying himself or having his Senate security pin on. He lunged towards Secretary Noem.
Lunged toward her.
Padilla was told repeatedly to back off and did not comply with the officer's repeated commands. Secret Service thought that he was an attacker. The officers acted appropriately. Secretary Noem met with Senator Padilla after and held a 15-minute long meeting. So that's, well, incredibly. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's what I was just finna say. I wish Kristi Noem didn't sit with him. I wish she would have never did that. But hey, it is what it is.
I would say put him in jail. Why not put him in jail? There's a representative named LaMonica McIver, which did about the same thing. She's in the House.
Yep.
And she's now found guilty. She's now been indicted on 3 separate charges, may spend the next 17 years in prison for fighting with ICE agents. Senator Padilla chose disrespectful political theater, interrupted the live press conference. Yeah. Mr. Padilla was told repeatedly to back away, according to spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin, and did not comply with the officer's repeated commands.
He showed
He thought he was an attacker. Kristi Noem still met with him and exchanged numbers and said that it was cordial. Alex Padilla was outside weeping and crying like a little bitch afterwards.
Ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you don't my hands, go ahead, stand behind my back.
All right. Cool. Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir.
He deserved it too.
Other hand.
You don't go in there and be just storming at Kristi Noem because you don't like what she's saying and stuff like that. Think about it. This man had bad intention from the beginning, because if you look at it, he already said that what these rioters been doing is peaceful. So what is it that he got to ask Kristi Noem? And you already running out here talking about what they doing is peaceful. Them burning up cars, blocking the highways, breaking out police car windows. You calling that peaceful and passionately? What, like, nobody needs to hear from Alex Padilla. Nobody.
There's no recording allowed out here. I did not.
And then Kristi Noem was also on Fox News explaining what happened. Here we go.
We all saw what happened in the video of that room when he was physically taken out, and you heard just now his response, and I understand you had a personal conversation with him as well. So what do you want to say about all of this?
You know, what I would say is we were conducting a press conference to update everyone on the enforcement actions that are ongoing to bring peace to the city of Los Angeles. And this man burst into the room, started lunging towards the podium, interrupting me and elevating his voice, and was stopped, did not identify himself, and was removed from the room. So as soon as he identified himself, appropriate actions were taken. But I would say that, I had a conversation with the senator after this. We sat down for 10 to 15 minutes and talked about the fact that nobody knew who he was. He didn't say who he was, that until he was already had been.
Yeah, you can definitely see him right here, how he's lunging towards the podium. He's literally lunging and they keep pushing him back. It wasn't like he was just standing in one spot and just was asking a question. He was lunging while he was screaming. Like, you don't know what's on a person's mind when they are mad, they screaming, and they lunging towards you. You don't know what to expect. So the police did the right thing by pushing him back, and he just kept coming forward. So they had to do what they had to do.
Lunging forward, and people were trying to detain him for quite a period of time. And that this, we're leaders, we're public servants. And if he had requested a meeting, I would have loved to have sat down and had a conversation with him. That coming into a press conference like this is political theater. It's wrong, and it does a disservice to this country and the people who live here. So we sat down, had a conversation. We probably disagree on 90% of the topics, but we agreed to exchange phone numbers. We'll continue to talk and share information. And I think that's the way it should be in this country. I wish he would have acted that way in the beginning instead of creating a scene like this.
Well, you're saying that nobody knew who he was, and if they did, he would have been treated differently. And you just heard his comment. He said, if this is the way they treat a U.S. senator, you can only imagine how others are being treated in these deportation efforts. What would you say to that, Secretary?
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think his statement is absolutely ridiculous. This man burst into a room, started advancing towards the podium, interrupting an opening statement, elevating his voice, shouting questions. People tried to stop him from interrupting the press conference. He refused and continued to lunge towards the podium, and that is when he was removed from the room. So the way that he acted was completely inappropriate. It wasn't becoming a U.S. senator or a public official, and perhaps he wanted the scene, and that's what he wanted. But I think the American people are sick of this kind of action. I think the American people are tired of this. They just want the truth, and they just want to know what's happening, and that's what we were trying to provide.
We just had a Democrat and a Republican panelists, and both sides agreed that they felt this was unbecoming behavior of a United States senator. But apparently Chuck Schumer doesn't feel that way. Senator Schumer, here's what he just had to say. Watch.
Mr. President, I just saw something that sickened my stomach. The manhandling of a United States senator. We need immediate answers to what the hell went on.
How can these federal agents get away with this? Is the President of the United States telling folks to go down and start arresting United States senators?
Oh,
what
my
would you say to them?
They are insane.
Secretary.
Well, he was never arrested. He was never arrested, and nobody knew who he was when he came into the room creating a scene. He was removed from the room, and yes, they started to put handcuffs on him when he finally identified himself, and then that was stopped. They said he wants to talk to you. I said, sure, I'd love to sit down and visit. So we went to a room and visited for 10 or 15 minutes and then exchanged phone numbers. So I just, I'm so sick of the politics, Martha. This is literally people's lives. We have criminal gangs and terrorists out on our streets that we're trying to remove from Los Angeles. I mean, people just need to get over themselves and have the backs of law enforcement and this president who just want to clean up America and make it safe.
Exactly. He just want to make it safe. I mean, that right there is just what it is. So, like I said, y'all get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about all of this. I want y'all to check out this last clip right here of Alex Padilla pretty much getting choked up, practically starts crying after being arrested for his stunt at the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's press conference. So, y'all check this out. Let me know what y'all think about it in the comment section. And thank you to the ones who stayed to the very end. I appreciate all of you. Check this one out, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.
Senator Alex Padilla. You guys have some questions. I'm going to read a brief statement. I will not be taking questions, but allow me to read my statement. I'm here in Los Angeles today, and I was here in the federal building, in the conference room, awaiting a scheduled briefing from federal officials as part of my responsibility as a senator to provide oversight and accountability. While I was waiting for the briefing with General Guillot, I learned that Secretary Noem was having a press conference a couple of doors down the hall. Since the beginning of the year, but especially over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. And at one point, I had a question. And let me emphasize, just as we've emphasized the right for people to peacefully protest and to stand up for their First Amendment rights, for our fundamental rights. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground, and I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this. If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country.